One ski show in the books. Adam, you ready for tournament season?
No.
It's showtime. This is The Ski Show, the ultimate show ski podcast, and your one and only source for all things show skiing, bringing you news, knowledge, and interviews with the legends and stars of our sport. Here are your hosts, Matt Heilman and Adam Schaller.
Welcome to The Ski Show, episode number 127, which is absolutely remarkable because if you listened to the audio quality of our last episode, you would have thought it was our first ever podcast. It was that bad. Apologies to all. We could blame the ballet ladies, but we'll be nice. Nonetheless, we're here. Episode 127, and still cranking them out. Today we have a great one with star skier and owner of Legacy Skis, Austin Walstad.
Today's sponsors are the Board Shop. All of your summer and winter board sports gear is yours at bswake.com. And the Paul Stokes Agency at American Family Insurance Agency. Get top-notch insurance. Support from one of the best.
We say it every year, but, you know, Adam, we're going to blink. And it's going to be nationals, and it's over.
Yep.
Shows have started. The Merc is in a few weeks, and boom, regionals and nationals are here, and then boom, it's done.
Yeah, I mean, like, holy smokes. I know, you're like, oh, we got plenty of time to do this. We got plenty of time to do this. Well, guess what? The season is here, and your plenty of time is no longer plenty of time, and it's basically crunch time. The entire summer is just crunch time because you're just getting ready for one competition. And as soon as that's over, you breathe for about a day, and then you're getting ready for the next one. So, yeah, you're right. Yeah. Season starts, and it's nationals in a blink of an eye.
How are you feeling personally about this season for you?
Bittersweet. Every time, it's like, okay, this is my first practice. This is, so it's I'm looking forward to what life looks like without show skiing in the summer. But at the same time, I don't really have any other friends outside of show skiing. So
we'll still be your friend. Like, we still love you. But like, we've talked about this briefly on the podcast before, but for our listeners who are wondering what the hell Adam's talking about, he's hanging it up after this year, and this is his last and final year. He's made that clear for the last couple of years that 2025 is his last year.
Yep.
And so this is it. So we're gonna have a fun season. We're gonna make some memories, and like you said, it's bittersweet. It's bittersweet for all of us because you and I have had this incredible working relationship as show director and announcer in so many ways over the years. It's been amazing, and so there's a lot of fun, a lot of emotion tied up in this season.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun with this. I'm really looking forward to this summer and working with you and the team and of course my stage crew and just we're gonna have a good time.
Yep, it'll be great. So no matter what happens, it's gonna be an awesome year. So we have some events coming up on the calendar, and as this podcast proceeds through the summer, we got one more podcast after this, and then we're going to do our tournament season preview. We're going to do that episode, which is always super popular. We're going to do that right after the Merc, actually, and kind of before all the regionals and nationals. We're going to talk about the tournament season and who's got what. We're going to dabble in that a little bit tonight, but coming up in June, we've got the City of Lakes tournament in Lake City, Warsaw, June 14th.
Holy smokes, that's early.
So early. Imagine if we had to do a tourney in June 14th.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we're not even ready for our golf outing. That's June 13th. So.
We're not even ready for – yeah, we're not – yeah, geez.
No.
There's so many things we're not ready for. All right.
Yep. We're going to the Merc, though. The Mercury Invite in Janesville, June 21. Cool lineup there. So, they got the Rock Aqua Jays are the first on the water. Then the Aquanuts, then Mad City, Wonder Lake, the Ski Bronx, and the Water Bugs. This is the biggest Merc they've had in years.
Was there a Merc last year?
There hasn't been one in a couple of years.
Because of water, right? And,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then City of Lakes the other time. So
Everybody went to City
Warsaw
of Lakes,
and
yeah.
they didn't do the Merc. So
Okay.
it's been a while. And now they've had years where there's only been 3 teams or 4 teams, and this year there's 6, and it's awesome. So great lineup, should be fun. We're looking forward to that, kind of kicking off our tournament season. And we're going to talk to our guest today, Austin Walstad, about this, but the end of June is water ski days in Lake City, Minnesota. And it's they're doing a Ralph Samuelson tribute show. They're doing a jump competition. It's sponsored by Legacy. It's going to be fun. I'm excited to hear more about that from Austin. So a lot of cool events coming up. Southern Regionals is early, the earliest of the regionals. That's in June. So we're going to have a lot to talk about in our coming episodes. So looking forward to that.
And for those of you that don't know who Ralph Samuelson is, number one, shame on you, but he is the pioneer of water skiing.
Yeah, is he like the Godfather?
I would think so. I mean, what
is like Dick?
He was the
Dick
first
Pope?
guy to. He was the first guy to do it. I mean,
Yeah, he was.
He's the man.
He is the man.
He's the reason we're here right now
Correct. Yep. Ralph.
because of that guy.
Yeah, there should probably be T-shirts like that. Like Ralph is the man. Like
With the Godfather on it.
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
With with those big skis, that
Okay.
statue of. Yeah, let's do that.
Somebody creative, get on it. Let's get some T-shirts.
Lake Lovers would probably do that. So
Okay.
Lake Lovers crew, if you're
Let's
listening,
throw it out there.
We need a Ralph Samuelson Godfather T-shirt. Bring it.
Love it.
Let's do it. I'll buy it. All right. Well, Adam, let's get into our hot takes. We haven't done this in a couple of episodes. You probably don't have anything worth talking about, but let's see what you got.
No, I do. I do have
Okay.
something worth talking about.
All right. Let's hear it.
I
What is
don't
your
know if
hot take?
listeners realize it or not, but this season is the show director battle royale because the 2 guys that have teamed up to be show directors for Team USA, world champions for the last 2 times now, are each show directing their own team. And I don't know if that's by design. Did you guys let each hey, I'm going to show direct, are you going to show direct? So, I mean, these guys who are good buddies, work together great on Team USA, are now going head-to-head this season. So
What's the hot take there? That's just news.
no, that's a hot take. I don't know.
Okay.
What is
Well, okay. So
let's read what is
did we
actually a
talk
hot
about
take.
that?
What is a hot take?
Well, all right.
The
Well,
pure
hot
definition
take
of a hot
is
take.
like a headline. I don't know, like a.
Well, that's a headline. Show director battle royale.
Okay.
Other people don't know this.
All right. Well, so it is.
I'm making
So
them aware
Dave
of
and
it.
I are both show directors, and it is not a surprise that Dave is show director because it is the 50th anniversary of Nationals, and Janesville is hosting. It's funny you would mention this because my hot take is going to lead into this. It's going to segue
See,
perfectly
you're welcome.
from your hot take.
You're
We
welcome,
didn't
even
talk
though
about this.
mine's not a hot take. But
You're
that's-
walking
that's-
me right into mine, which is fine. So
yep.
Dave and I are both show directors. So we have different reasons for being show director. I am show director because this is your last season. Purely. It has my being show director has nothing to do with the 50th of Nationals. It has nothing to do with competition. It has all to do with you and I and our working relationship, and that we're going to set the sun on your announcing together. And that's my inspiration for being it. Not to mention, you said I have to be show director in your last year.
I did? I said that?
You did. Yeah, you have to be show director. So that,
I think we
that
just had a
said,
moment. We just had a moment.
We did. So Dave, he's been off, a year or two, and it's time for him to cycle back, and it's the 50th. And so as good and successful as he is as a show director, he should be their show director for the 50th Nationals in Janesville. So no surprise there. My hot take is that the Rock Aqua Jays on the 50th Nationals in Janesville are going to kick everybody's ass by 150 points or more.
That is a hot take because that's controversial.
Yep. And it's coming from you just mentioned the show director Royale. Us and me are taking a back seat to what they've got in the hopper right now. And if people don't know, we'll see how it materializes, but there are names joining their team besides the large, amazing team they already have. with record-setting ballet lines and awesome talent through and through, all the star skiers they have. Ethan Scholda, Eli Carson, and Bryson Mace are all skiing with RAJ.
Well, we're pretty good at taking second place, so I mean, whatever.
Yep. So I mean, so they're the clear favorites. We'll talk about this more in our tournament season preview, but it's it's probably not even that hot of a take. Like the show ski community would look at their team and say, "Yep, they're the favorite. They're that good. They're that talented. They're that big." And honestly, it'll be fun to see them if they can put it together on the 50th at home. It's going to be a fun summer. It's going to be.
What do you mean if they can put it together? They didn't ski all of last summer and they still won. And it's at Janesville this year, for crying out loud. So I mean, holy smokes, 150 is probably you're being nice.
Yeah. So that's my hot take today, and there we go. All right. Before we get to our featured interview, Adam, let's talk about the board shop. Jason Richling and company are absolutely crushing it. Summer season is here, and they are fully stocked.
Yeah, I bet they're swamped because the weather's been nice lately. Well, not as of lately, but you know what I mean. It's warming up. They've got boards, bindings, vests, skis, paddle boards, accessories, and so much more. All the stuff you think about when the weather starts to get nice. And they have tons of products, the most popular brands, everything you need for boating, skiing, and just a day on the lake.
That's right. And the board shop is giving you, our show ski community, a deal. Visit their website at bswake.com, and when you make a purchase, use the promo code SHOW15 to save on your purchase. Yep, you heard that right. Go to bswake.com, promo code SHOW15.
All right, time to get to our main interview. This guy is humble, kind, and oh so talented. He's skied pro at several stops. He's been a member of Team USA. He's a tremendously well-rounded skier, and he's owner and founder of Legacy Skis. Let's get to our interview with Austin Walstad. Welcome to the show, Austin.
Yeah, hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Hey, Austin.
How we doing?
Good. Do you have a beverage? Because, I mean, it should be noted that you messaged me today and said you need a stiff bourbon because you're a little nervous about talking on the podcast.
I do. I need about 4 of them. I'm going to come test out one of these flights pretty soon here.
You should.
Yep.
You should.
Pretty excited about that. But
yeah, it'll be fun.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. But
all right, sir, we'll just jump right into it. I mean, again, same question we ask every single person on the podcast. How did you get started skiing?
yeah, so I think like most of us, we were all super fortunate to kind of grow up around, have family members that grew up water skiing. So both my mom and dad were pretty active in the water ski show. And then at age 4, that was the first time that I was able to strap some skis to my feet and go out and ski myself. So I did that at 4, and then at age 9 is when both me and my sister joined the water ski team. It was the Rochester ski team. Now it's now known as the Ski Docks team. So we'd spend most of our summers right there on Lake Zumro skiing. We had a camper actually at the other end of the lake, so we'd go ski there all summer. And then in the winters around Christmas time, my mom and dad would take me and my sister down to actually Winter Haven, Florida, where we would ski with Gino and Angela and stay right at their place in their guest house right above their garage. So kind of crazy how that all comes about. But I would
Small
ski.
world, right?
Yeah, I would ski actually with Gino, and then my sister would ski with Angela. And then we would kind of go over to Lucky Lowe's one day or do some jumping at Lucky's, or we'd go over and ski with Jason LaManna a couple times. And then in the other days, I would actually go to WBC and barefoot there. So, yeah, crazy how small the world is because, 5-7 years later, I'm on a Team USA team with Gino and Angela. Keith's on it. It's crazy how, and we'd go have lunch with Jeremy Armstrong a couple times, and little did I know, he was going to be my boss the first year at Bartlett. So it's kind of crazy how that all comes about, and
it's a weird circle of life, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's show ski community. So for you, born and raised in Rochester, and that Rochester team, I remember there was a year at Nationals. Didn't they do a 4-tier prefab?
Yep. Yeah, they did. Yep.
Yeah. Were you on the team at that time when that happened?
No, I don't believe so. But my dad was and stuff like that. But yeah, they've had a lot of cool things come out of there. I know like Pete Kuhlman's a huge skier that's come out of there. Like Jason Lamanna has been around quite a bit. Jake Utley, Christy Skillings and Carpenter. They're all, a lot of them are some pretty big.
Yeah, a lot of Rochester alums from there, and then did Rochester kind of fall apart a little bit, and then it became the ski docks? How did that materialize?
Yeah, that kind of started, I think, in the last couple of years. They actually switched the show site on us. We used to be on the one end of the lake, and then now we're kind of on the opposite end of the lake where there's a bar and grill. The county bought out the old ski site, so they actually moved over there, and then I think it all kind of started when Mayo Clinic's right close by to the ski site there, and then so I think when they went to rename it, they were thinking like doc, like for doctors, so they named it Ski Docs. I think that's kind of how it came, but I think they, back and forth they go by. Some people like Rochester, some people still like the Ski Docs, so whatever fits. But yeah, super fun time.
Well, you threw out some pretty big names there. Who were your mentors growing up?
Yeah, I guess, around the Rochester area, it was probably like the JoJo. He was pretty big into there around there. Tommy Teedy. Dave Butlin was a pretty big mentor back in Rochester. And then, just skiing everywhere I've skied, there's with Bartlett's, there's plenty of people at Bartlett's, Mark Mikeys, the Jeremy Armstrongs, those are, huge mentors. And then you get skiing at Legoland, and, you got Don Buffa and all of his stars, or, Hunter and Ty Dibbler and Joe, all of his leads. Those are all, huge mentors. And then obviously with SeaWorld San Antonio, you got, Jess DePorter. She's doing awesome things, and she's a huge mentor. And, some of her leads, Rob Wycall, and then, Evan Marcus was helping out there for a little bit too. And, those are just awesome people that are just, keep trying to promote the sport and keep going and going. So those are huge mentors for all them. So.
Cool. You're a well-rounded skier. You can do a lot of different things really well, and that's super cool. And I think we got some nuggets of where and how that developed from some of the names you mentioned. So when you went to Winter Haven, you skied with Gino, you skied with Lucky Lowe, you skied with Jason Lamanna, you went to WBC. You're doing all the disciplines. Let's start with, let's talk about a couple of those, like barefooting in particular. You're a stud barefooter. Where did that develop? Where did that interest come in? And was it that time down there with Jason and at WBC where you really took a liking and got talented in barefooting?
Yeah, I think that's definitely where I learned the most, down there at WBC with like Keith and David Small and all them. But when I was on the ski team, I was a little younger. I wasn't the first one to be able to take a girl off my shoulders and do all the, the meat hauling and the stuff like that. So I actually kind of got a couple passes that I was able to just kind of go out and do the cool guy stuff, what they, always made fun of me for, because I always used to take a boat and go out and just, try endless flip turns and then, come back and I'd make 1 out of 7 or something like that. So that's really kind of where I got going on that. And then, going down to WBC all the time, they're great coaches and doing a lot of barefooting down there, and then just bringing it back to Rochester and just, I always kind of got into barefoot and always liked it. I think if I wasn't huge into show skiing, I think I would have liked to, kind of pursue or keep, go stay down at WBC and be a boat gas guy and, get all the free sets you want. But, this just the love of show skiing, it's kind of hard to leave that. So.
For those of you who don't know, WBC is the World Barefoot Center. Just throwing that out there because, it's people like me that don't know that stuff.
And one of the smartest moves in show skiing that guys can do, like you, is get good at stuff so you don't have to do pyramids and doubles and other shit. So they send you to take a boat. You go barefoot, you go trick ski, you go sky ski, you go jump,
Yep.
And you get good at
you
it.
get out of doing all the other T-Macs. So
Oh,
young
absolutely.
skiers today, your best move is to get good at other shit so
Oh.
you don't have to do.
Yeah, well, it's like at Bartlett's, if you could back barefoot, it got you almost out of clown every day and conventionals, or doubles.
Yes.
So I mean, really, if you had that, there was you kind of had at least a good chance of not having to do one of those two, which is what everybody kind of
Yep.
wanted. But so yeah, that was kind of a nice skill to definitely have for sure.
When did you take to jumping?
I actually really started jumping like a year or so, or right when I got to Bartlett's. When I got to Bartlett's, I was I was really only Hellion, and I didn't jump a ton when I was back home in Rochester. But when I got to Bartlett's is when I really started jumping a lot more and getting used to the ramp and multiple people and stuff like that. So definitely got a later start on that than like barefooting and stuff like that. But
You mentioned a lot of pro names you dropped. Let's talk about some of the stops you've had skiing pro. Where did you first ski pro, and how did that come to be?
So my first year skiing pro was actually right after my senior year of high school. So I had applied when I kept going down to Florida. Talking with Jason LaManna, and he actually brought me into Legoland one day. Did kind of like, I remember doing a barefoot flyer off the ship. And then, so I just kind of kept wanting to, that was the next step, like ski pro and, go somewhere and do that. So Bartlett's was obviously closest to home. So I applied there, and I didn't hear anything back from them for a while. And then all of a sudden one day my phone rings and I get a voicemail, and it was from Joey Lincecum. And so I called him back the next day and said, after kind of talking it over and, thinking about if that's really what I wanted to do. And sure enough, I said yes. And I was late down there because I was finishing up high school. So, the team had already been down there for like Lush Boat Day and some of the big party days and getting to know each other and that stuff. So I was late down there. I think I was like 4 or 5 days late. And so I just remember getting moved in. They had like 2 or 3 hours of practice already started. And then I was walking down to the dock, and I just remember Mom and Dad were behind me, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to do this. I might be coming back with you, but they kind of gave me a swift kick, and I was down at the dock and never looked back. Some of the best times of my life. So Bartlett's was the first show I went to, and that was in 2014. So, and I skied it there all the way until they closed down. But so after that, I went to Legoland. I was there for, I think I did like a 3-month contract or something like that. It was a little shorter one. And then after that, I skied the last 2 or 3 summers in at SeaWorld in San Antonio.
Cool.
So.
Very cool. You did the circuit.
Stop? Did you have a favorite place? What do you hold? You probably hold Bartlett's near and dear to your heart, given all the years there and the fact that it's closed, huh?
Yeah, I mean, they all are super, super unique in their own way. The Bartlett's just for everybody living on site and getting to kind of live that life together and the shenanigans that come with that. And then, Legoland was really fun, being able to ski, every day as well, and, being able to do it year round. And then, having a great crew down there. And then, San Antonio's, awesome as well. Super awesome show. With the band playing on the stage, and then the show skiing in the back. It's super unique. Fireworks going off everywhere. So that's unique in itself. So
were you on staff? Were you getting paid at both Bartlett's and Legoland when they closed?
No, different.
Okay,
times,
we don't want to tie those to you in any way.
Yes, right. No, yes, I'm not saying anything there, but no, I wasn't. No, I was not. But
all right.
Yeah.
Because I think if that was the case, San Antonio would keep you away for a while.
Exactly. You're not coming back.
Yep. You're done.
Yep. Well, I actually get to go there next week for 3 or 4 days, so I better.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that would be kind of fun. So, yep.
Cool.
But
Adam, let's chat briefly about Paul Stokes and American Family Insurance. Paul is one of us. He's a great show skier, a great barefooter, like we've talked about with Austin.
Yep.
He loves the sport, and he's an incredible insurance agent.
Yeah, he gave back to the sport with free barefoot lessons, and your team can get $30 back just for reaching out to Paul and going through his Get Stoked quoting process. You heard that right. You just reach out, you get a quote, no obligation, and Paul will donate $30 to your team. That's it.
That's right. Can't go wrong with that. At least checking in with your options with Paul. He's an amazing guy who's giving back to the sport, and he'll take care of all your insurance needs. So get stoked and stay stoked with Paul Stokes and American Family Insurance.
All right, Austin. So, you started in Rochester. You skied pro at 3 different places. You got really good as you worked your way into Bartlett, started jumping more, and, that landed you eventually on spot Team USA. How many teams have you been on, and which teams have those been?
Yeah, so my first team was we were in Canada. That was 2018, I believe. So that would have been my first team I made, and then that was a pretty awesome spot. And then the first time being able to be part of something like that, so that was really cool. And then my next time was when we went to Australia, and then they sent us home.
The first time we went to Australia.
The first time, so that was fun. And then I was also on 2022, which was in Winter Haven, Florida, which was, like we all know, super unique, super awesome, big atmosphere of water skiing. And then, that crowd was unreal of coming into stage on most of those acts. I mean, there's nothing like that. So I was on that, and then I was on the most recent one as well in Australia, which, hats off to the Australian team for putting on a great event. That was fun as well.
Yep.
That was great. That was a cool experience, And you've skied and driven the boat in these shows. You're, Dave and I like to call you the Swiss Army knife because you can do all the things we need you to do, and you fill so many different roles. How was that doing kind of dual duty skiing and driving in some of those shows?
Yeah, I mean, it was super fun, and at Bartlett's I did quite a bit of drive one, so I got a lot of time behind the wheel and pulling, knowing what people like and getting feedback there. So that was super helpful. But yeah, I think it's really fun to be able to go out and do the back barefoot and get the chatter before the show, and I think that's always kind of fun to talk about too. It's like you get a couple different personalities back there. Some people are talkative and some people are pretty dialed in, and you're the first one coming through most times, so it's like, oh boy, here we go. Yeah. But yeah, definitely some nerves running through there. But then being able to be a part of that 7-man and that jump's always super fun and good to be part of that. So then being able to get out of the boat and being able to still do something and be part of that, it's really cool. I definitely enjoyed it for sure. So
yeah, so you've been a part of 4, so 18, 20, 22, and 25, 4 Team USAs. Not only skiing but driving. We talk about you being such a well-rounded skier, but I think people don't understand how good of a driver you are as well. So 4 Team USAs. Talk to us a little bit about some of your favorite memories from those. I mean, you got to have. I imagine there's a couple in there. Things that really stand out to you.
Yeah, I guess kind of the same thing. Like I said, the back barefoot lines are always really fun. I know, like that one year at one of those practices we did, I think we were up to whatever it was, 10 or 11, or it might even been more than that. I mean, that's awesome to be part of. And then just skiing with such talent and people that they're all there for the same goal, and to be to be part of a fun team like that. I mean, it's obviously what most of us look forward to and look up to, and then being able to do it, let alone 4 times, and and to gain so many friends from it, it's like none other, that's for sure. So
it's super cool too, like as you think about, and we've talked about this on the show before, you skied for the ski docks last year. You were MVP of the Midwest region. You were in 8, 9, 10 acts in that show. And then you go to Team USA and everybody's only in 2, 3, 4 acts, and there's no ego. Sure. Like, people are there for a common goal, and they don't need to be in 9 acts. to feel a part of something special, and I think that makes it so unique because you got all these stars and no ego.
No, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. That's
Yeah.
it. I would agree for sure. So.
Yeah. Did you have any favorite memories or moments from this most recent one? Did anything cool happen on this last trip?
Well, I went to the Great Barrier Reef. That was kind of fun.
Okay.
But no, after that, me and a couple people obviously that were over there, but the Tashers ended back up in Sydney, and then the last day before we flew out, I proposed to Gabbie in Darling Harbor, so that was pretty memorable.
All right. That's the
Nice.
we were looking for.
Nice.
That's right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah,
well,
the small show ski gene pool continues as show skiers find each other and stay together.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's a lot of weddings and people your age getting married. The show skiers getting married over the next year or two, huh?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be a fun couple of years here, but yeah, absolutely.
And when are you getting married? Have you set a date?
Have not set a date yet, but we're kind of looking at in August 2026.
Are we arm wrestling over Minnesota or Wisconsin?
Where are you getting married?
Yeah, it'll be somewhere between here and there. So
Lacrosse.
We're gonna go up I-94 and find
I-90. I'm not kidding. But
we're gonna be in Toma.
Yeah, no, we've looked at a couple venues, but I think the last couple that we've kind of liked are either one in the Dells or actually in Lacrosse. So yeah,
cool.
You kind of hit it spot on. But
Lacrosse, you bet.
So
all right,
nice.
Good for you.
Yep.
Fun. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
congrats,
you.
man. That's great.
Yeah,
Yep.
super excited. So.
Well, let's dive in. I want to talk about Legacy Skis. That's been so cool to see you and Cole and what that's become, and what I wanted for our listeners to hear is kind of the origin of that. Tell the story from the beginning of where that came to be and how it came that Connelly's no longer making skis and you are.
Sure. Yeah, so that's when I was actually down in Florida. So went down there skiing a little bit, and I was talking to Evan a little bit about skis and all that kind of stuff. And that's when I got done. I came back to Minnesota, and I was sitting in actually where the ski shop is now. I was sitting there talking to Cole a little bit, and he had ordered some skis along with a couple other people, and we ended up talking through it, and he decided, one day he's like, let's just see if we can try making a pair. So I kind of mentioned that to Evan and whatnot, and he went into work one day at Lego, and that's when he had caught wind that Connelly was going to be selling some of that press and material and stuff like that. So he called me up right away, and that's when I called Bufa. And I just said, hey, I kind of caught wind of this, and he had contacts, with Connelly quite a bit. So I just said, hey, I caught wind of this. We're super interested. If it's something you're interested in, let me know. If not, can I get the contacts to who to reach out to? So Don said, at my age and where I'm at, I'm not really interested in it. But if you're interested in it, here's the contact. So, I thought about who to really join with, and that's when Cole came to mind. Super hardworking guy. I mean, really really skilled in all levels, and then. Is a businessman himself, so he's really smart in that side. So I called him up and kind of filled him in and told him, about the little unique opportunity. And he was up on a roof, and he said, well, I'll be getting down, but if not, I'll call from right here. So
right.
He called, he called Connelly, or called the rep from Connelly, and then there was a couple other people that were interested in it at the time. And then so just kind of through the process, it ended up that, we were out there and watching them make the skis, and everything's back in Minnesota.
So were Connelly's so they decided to get out of the jump ski business, correct? Making jump skis, and that's where this opportunity came. Wasn't there one guy who for 40 years was the man making the skis, and is that really how that kind of evolved, where he was going to be done and they were done and they were going to move it on?
Yeah, there definitely was only one guy making them there for a while. When we were out there, he did have another guy helping him a little bit that had put his hands on him for a while. But they towards the end there, I think they were waiting till they would get a large amount of orders or a certain amount of orders, and they would take people from one operation. So like say they're making the slalom skis that day or whatever they may be doing, they would get those orders caught up, and then they would move the whole operation over to the jump ski manufacturer. So I think just the back and forths and trying to get the materials and stuff like that, I think they just kind of said it was time to kind of move on from it. So.
Yep.
And where was their operation? Where is their operation located? Is it out in Washington?
Yeah, kind of in the Seattle area. Arlington was the town. So we went up. Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, you went out there, and did they like train you? Like, this is how we do it?
Yeah, we went out there for a week. So we flew out there, went through the whole kind of crash course. They did one ski kind of from where they were in that operation, and so we watched that, and then after that the rest of the week we started a ski from start to finish and watched that multiple times, and then towards the end we were able to get our hands on one and kind of make it ourselves.
Who has that first ski you touched and made?
It's sitting in the shop, hung up.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So
good for you.
Very cool.
Yep. Yeah, and then we left the skew like 0. We started the skew numbers at number 5, so we left a little play in there just for ourselves or whatnot. So that was
good for you.
But so yeah, we went out there and watched them do that, and then after that, we ended up getting everything back to Minnesota after a long kind of a process of them fulfilling some orders and waiting on that stuff. So finally ended up getting everything back to Minnesota, and here we are. So been slowly adding more and more to it as we go. So
what's been the hardest part about starting Legacy Skis, moving from Connelly? Kind of, you guys made the choice to change the name and branding, maintain the legacy, right? Maintain the history of Connelly, but you made the choice to change the name and rebrand it. How's that transition been? What's been the hardest part of kind of jump-starting a new but historical ski business?
Yeah, I think, just getting our hands on it in the beginning, when we said that, we purchased it and whatnot, we had no idea how to make a jump ski at that time. Like we didn't know what materials. We had some suppliers. And so when we got out there, that's when we really, we were like, are we in for too much here, or are we going to be able to do it? So, but yeah, I think, just the first couple of just getting your hands on it, the more you do it, the more comfortable you get. But that, and then, just the shipping of it, just trying to get everything back here is so much, with the presses that, they don't just go in a van and ship UPS. They got to come and, big hot shot trucking. So lining all that up and getting that here and getting that set up, we had all the electrical and, everything that comes with that. I think that was kind of, and just like kind of your house too. Once you live in it and find out where things need to be and stuff like that, it just only gets a little easier. But,
Yeah.
So I'd say that was kind of out of those were kind of the biggest struggles. But
how has the process for you guys, learning to make skis, like how long did it take you originally to make the first couple of skis versus, where you're at now?
Yeah, so I think in the beginning we were doing it like that. We would start a ski and bring it all the way through production from start to finish, and that really took a lot of time because you kind of have to let things cure, or you have to let it kind of sit and stuff like that, and you go walk from one end of the building more than you really should. At first there it would probably take us a couple days to do a ski or whatnot, or at least a day or so to do a ski or a set, and now we try to get a batch to one section, and then the next day we'll take that section, get to the next section, and then just keep building the ski out. That way you can really boost how fast the process takes, just because you're not tripping over each other. You're not, one's trying to do one part and the other's, doing something else. So that's really helped.
So you're doing
us.
like 6, 8, 10 at a time, and you get the core done, and then you move it on, and you're banding the edges all at the same time. Is that kind of how that's working?
Yeah, normally, you get them laid up, you get the shape, you get them to the next stage, and then after that, you'll cut them out, sand them, get them looking more like a ski, and then following that, you get the edging on, and then after that, then you kind of just clean them up, and I mean a little bit more to it, obviously, but
yeah, of course.
But yeah, it does help being able to do them in stages, because then like I said, you're not, you're kind of just, you're locked into what you're doing that day too. You're not thinking of the other steps, but so no, it's been good. Definitely been interesting and fun. It's been a nice learning lesson, and just taking it as we go.
Is this a full-time gig for you and Cole, or is this kind of like part-time after work type stuff?
Yeah, so actually Cole owns a roofing siding little exterior company. So he does that as well. So it's definitely not full time for him. I'm still waterproofing basements and actually helping Cole out a little bit too. But so I do that. So it's part time for me as well. But we try to start. I'll start my day at like 8 or whatever waterproofing, be done by 4 or 5. Get down to the shop till 10, 11, and then kind of try to do that again throughout the week, and then we'll try to get a weekend that we're both all together and we can really get some stuff done over the weekend. So both part-time for us right now. So
wow.
But
so what's it? You mentioned growing the product line. There's been some twin tip skis I've seen floating around, some LD skis. What do you got going? What's in the hopper? What does it look like for Legacy this year and beyond?
Yeah, so like after we got the skis kind of up and rolling, we started taking over the tack line rope as well. So that was from Tom and Christy Prentice. So that was good. So we have that kind of stuff too, and we're getting into the wake skis have been super fun. We rode those. I rode those the other day, and kind of getting more people on them and just kind of test them out, see how they ride and stuff like that. And then we did just finish our first pair of prototype LDs, so we'll hopefully get those out there and somebody riding those this, even hopefully this weekend or beginning of next week, and get those out there and see how those go. So
awesome. Well, it's great stuff. Like, congratulations to you and Cole for taking this on. I mean, obviously it fills a great need in the sport. There's only so many water ski manufacturers and jump ski manufacturers, and for you to carry on that Connelly history and now have a great product and Legacy, kudos to you. Congratulations, and keep up the great work.
Yeah, thank you. No, I appreciate it for sure. Yeah.
Let's talk about the water ski days up in Lake City, Minnesota. So you got a plan. Obviously, Legacy Ski is going to sponsor, but talk to us about this weekend at the end of June. You got planned some big events.
Yeah, it's going to be an awesome weekend. So every year, Lake City, Minnesota does a water ski days festival. So this year we're kind of going to join with the ski team. In the past has done shows on like a Saturday or either like a Sunday. But this year we're going to try to get, water skiing back to the birthplace of water skiing. So do it as much as we can throughout the weekend. So Friday night we're going to do a kind of like a pro show, Tommy Bartlett style ski show. So that'll be Friday night. That's at 5 o'clock. It'll be a 45-minute show, probably about 10 to 12 of us, which will be really fun. We got a lot of things planned for that. There's a lot of stuff you can do with that, so we're pretty excited about that. Hopefully get Jaws down there to fly the kite, and we can fly boarders and stuff like that. So that'll be a fun night. And then Saturday morning we're gonna do a jump comp that's gonna start at 9 o'clock. Hoping to do like a intermediate division, women's division, and then a men's division. and then which is I think will be pretty fun. Just anybody and everybody who wants to come out and jump and ski for the weekend and do that kind of stuff, and hopefully they come and do that super low key, family friendly weekend and jump comp. So trying to just keep pushing that side of it. And then Saturday afternoon, there's a ski show at 3 o'clock as well. So we're gonna do that. That's the Rochester is going to be part of that. And so anybody that's there that weekend can ski in that show. So it'll be kind of fun. Hopefully we get a good turnout for that, and a lot of people that are coming up for the weekend will want to ski. And then Sunday as well at noon, we're gonna do a show as well. So it should be a pretty fun weekend of skiing. So.
Yeah, it's a packed weekend, and your brand is perfect for that weekend. Legacy skis and what's going on in the tribute show to Ralph Samuelson. That's just very cool.
Yeah.
Austin, what's next, man? What's next for you in your skiing career?
Well, I don't know. We'll have to see where I end up in the next couple summers here. But yeah, like I said, I get to go down to San Antonio for a couple days here next week. So that'll be kind of fun, and then ski this summer and then kind of go from there. But I don't know if my professional days are over or not, but they're certainly seem like they're not getting any closer. But
I'm sure you got more fun weekend shows like that, Georgia National Fair, things of that nature, even if you're not doing it as a full-time gig. Yeah, with the Georgia every year in early October, that's always a really fun show. And then the last couple of years I've been able to go ski at Oklahoma City there with Gino and his crew, so that's always a really fun show. Both of those are awesome shows and a fun time. So hopefully get to continue to keep doing those as well. Awesome. Well, Austin, you're doing great things. Awesome skier, awesome gentleman, awesome teammate. We appreciate you. Keep doing your thing, man. Keep rocking Legacy Skis. Keep doing it on the water. And thanks for being on the show, man. This is fun.
Yeah. Thanks, Austin.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys. Really appreciate it.
You got it. Take care, buddy.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Well, that was good. That was fun.
Dude, like, him and Cole are working full-time jobs, right?
Going from 4 to 10, like 6 or 7 more hours at night.
Yeah. They're full-time job, in the trades, roofing, exterior, waterproofing basements, busting their butt, and then they get done and they go make skis. Like, that's hard work. But hats off to them for taking the initiative, and because they had to put up some money and there's risk involved there, and they're making it work, and because of their hard work. So hats off to those guys. That's fantastic, just great.
Funny to hear that their wedding is going to be somewhere in between Rochester and Madison.
I was joking when I said La Crosse, and he's like, we've narrowed it down to La Crosse and maybe the Dells.
Yeah. It's hilarious.
Rock and roll.
There's going to be a line drawn, and they're going to be having like a tug of war as to where they're going to live after they get married.
Yeah, La Crosse, I guess.
Yeah, they're going to move to La Crosse and join River City and live happily ever after.
There you go.
Sounds perfect. Well,
got it all figured out.
They do. Thank you to our sponsors today, the Board Shop. Listen, man, they're stocked for summer. Use the promo code SHOW15. Get to bswake.com. That's bswake.com. And Paul Stokes at American Family Insurance. Just get a quote. No obligation. $30 to your team. And you're probably going to get better rates than you have with your current insurance agent. So check out Paul Stokes at American Family Insurance.
Yep. And, of course, thanks again to all of our listeners and our viewers. This is Matt and Adam, and this is The Ski Show.
Thank you for listening to The Ski Show, the ultimate show ski podcast with Matt and Adam. If you have questions or ideas for the show, find us on social media or message us at theskishowpodcast@gmail.com.